The Sanderson sisters are back to cause carnage across Salem, but did this long-awaited sequel live up to expectations? Well, let's take a look. Hi guys, I'm Craig and welcome back to my channel. So, on the 30th of September, Hocus Pocus 2 finally landed on Disney Plus, and I'm not going to lie, I was just a little bit excited. As soon as my other half got home from work that evening, we went down to the shops and we got ourselves some munchies, we turned our phones and the lights off, and we turned on Hocus Pocus 2. Now, a few positive things that I would like to talk about first, and that is that all of the three Sanderson sisters, they were outstanding in this movie. It was almost like putting on an old comfy slipper. They just looked fantastic. They were exactly the same as how they were perceived in the 1993 movie. I absolutely loved the opening scene where we were taken back to when, the Sanderson sisters, they were young teenagers, and we learned about how they became witches and how Winnie ended up getting that book and seeing them banished from Salem. Now, I would actually love to see a little spin-off of the young Sanderson sisters because it was that good. The atmosphere in the movie is also great. The movie felt very Halloween-y. I love how they used some of the original music from the original movie as well. It didn't feel too different from the original in terms of, cinematography. I flippin' loved the song that they used around the halfway mark, One Way or Another, and it was all, based up with a little spell thrown in, and me and my other half, we were literally bouncing on the sofas when this song came on, and we didn't want the song to stop. Now, I do still think that I Put a Spell on You is a lot better, but this is still good. It wasn't poor, and I wasn't underwhelmed, because we were all hoping and expecting a musical number from our favourite witches, and they didn't let us down. I loved all of the people of Salem dancing down the street, and they're looking for the mayor, and they're in the Halloween costumes. It just gave me a whole feeling of nostalgia. There were some moments that had me bursting out laughing. Now, one moment that actually stands out for me is when, the Sanderson sisters, they enter this house, and then Alexa starts talking to them, and Mary, she's like, Winnie, there's a woman trapped in that box. I was literally screaming, laughing. I mean, there were some silly comedy moments as well, but I think what you've got to remember, and what I had to do to remind myself, is that I am now a 35-year-old man watching this movie, whereas I was only around 6 years old watching the 1993 movie. So any moment that seemed silly and maybe a little bit childish to me probably doesn't to the younger generation who watched this. It had a great modern twist on it, and just like the 1993 movie where the witches think that that road is a lake, well, they end up facing similar scenarios in this day and age. It was great to see Billy the zombie back in this movie. I was really hoping that he would make an appearance and play a part in this sequel, and there were some great comedy moments with his character, and even, some dark humor thrown in for us adults. There were some really cool flashback scenes to the original movie, and I loved the bit where a young Gilbert, he actually witnessed the witches being defeated in the first movie. He was like a safe distance in the graveyard, and it was all very cleverly edited together nicely. It was nice to also see a black cat in this movie, as it was a little callback to Little Binks, even though this black cat is actually just a black cat. The effects in this movie were actually off the scale. It was flipping outstanding, I've got to say. And when the Sanderson sisters, when they're doing that big dangerous spell towards the end of the movie, and also when Winnie was, firing any of her magic at the three girls when they had like that little bubble, it looked really great. I honestly think they did a really good job with the effects. Okay, so moving on to some mixed negative moments for me, and I wasn't a fan of the younger cast in this movie. You got three friends, Cassie, Becca, and Izzy, and even though they were okay in their roles, they're quite easily forgettable. The only way that I can explain it is if you think of the 1993 movie, you already know, you already remember who the main protagonists are in that movie straight away. Whereas I know for a fact fact, I probably won't remember these girls' names by this time next year. I don't know, they were just sort of missing something. They weren't bad actors at all, they just didn't have the same charm as the original cast, but that isn't always a bad thing because originals are always hard to beat or even, just to get on the same level. The mayor guy really did my head and I'm sorry to say, I found him so annoying. I didn't really understand this whole toffee apple thing, like why was it such a big part, in this movie? And it seemed just really, really silly. He was also like really over the top in some parts and it was making me cringe. Now the ending of the movie wasn't all that bad. It did actually make me tear up just a little bit when Winnie thought that she had lost her sisters forever. It was a little bit odd though, seeing Winnie be nice when she was begging for the 3 young girls to bring her sisters back. I mean, it was a touching moment and it was very unexpected, but it was a little bit confusing and I was really looking forward to more of a bigger showdown. I mean, the way the movie ended, it felt very final to me. Like, I cannot see a way back for the Sanderson sisters, in another film, because Winnie, she ended up like breaking the black flaming candle spell and then they disappeared into some sort of other world. Even though we do see another black flame candle that appears at the end credits with the black cat, so could they maybe make a third Hocus Pocus? Who knows, but I just can't honestly see a way back for the original witches. I mean, if there are any plans to bring them back for one more final movie, then they would need to do it sooner rather than later, because let's face it guys, they aren't getting any younger in real life. But do we really need a third Hocus Pocus? I kind of feel 2 was enough. I mean, we finally got the sequel that we were all waiting for, and yes, it may not be on the same level as the original, but in my own personal opinion, it was a pretty decent sequel that I will probably go back and watch back to back with the original, every Halloween, every year. I was not disappointed with the sequel. I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish, despite a few little flaws that I didn't really actually think about until a few days after watching the movie, but it is really, really good. I really enjoyed, and as I said earlier, I am now an adult watching this sequel, so I'm watching the sequel with an adult brain rather than, as a youngster. Anyway, that's all of my thoughts on Hocus Pocus 2. Now I'd like to hear some of your thoughts. What did you guys think of this long-awaited sequel? Did you enjoy it, or were you majorly disappointed? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments box below. Okay then guys, well, thank you all for stopping by and watching today's video. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very, very soon.